guys, Allie here from Champagne and Coffee Stains, and today I want to kick off a series about my Chicago Marathon training. I am currently training for my second postpartum marathon since having two kids, and this is actually going to be my first World Majors marathon ever. So it'll be this upcoming Chicago Marathon in the fall, and I am very, very excited about it. My last marathon was last year when I was a year postpartum after having my second daughter, and that was at TC Marathon. So I'm excited to see kind of how I'm growing and the improvements that I make year over year too. So before I get too far into it, please be sure to subscribe and like, as well as if you have any questions about things that you want to see me talking about in my training updates, or if you have any questions about like what I'm doing in general, just let me know in the comments below, and then I can talk about them later on. So let's get into it. I'm going to call this my Chicago Marathon base building first video, but technically I've been base building since last year, I would say. When I had my second daughter, it was like last June when I decided that I was going to do the TC Marathon, which is a really big marathon here in Minnesota, the Twin Cities Marathon. And I decided to do it last September. And I signed up for coaching in June because that's usually it's usually like a 16 to 20 week program, and that aligned perfectly for me. So I signed up with Run for PRs at that time. My goal, obviously, I want to run fast. My all-time PR for a marathon before I had kids and everything was like 4:22, I think, at Grandma's Marathon. And that was a good 6 or 7 years ago now. So my goal was to beat that number. Unfortunately, I didn't. TC Marathon, I actually ran in like 4:42. It was super hot out, but I think it's also something that I never really think about is the courses, which it seems so obvious that Grandma's Marathon is more of a downhill course, whereas TC Marathon is kind of rolling hills. And I never really, I guess, realized how much that comes to play in there. So I didn't hit a PR or anything, but it was one of the best training sessions I've ever had, the strongest I've ever felt in a marathon. It was on par with what I actually ran. The last time I did TC Marathon was before I had my first daughter, so in 2017. 2017 was the last time, and I did about the same time, and that time it was like raining and really bad weather. But this year it was just really hot. But overall, like I felt amazing during the entire race. So that's where like it really gave me a lot of hope that, coming in from not really running at all for the past like 2.5 years and being able to kind of be on par with where I had been before I even had kids gave me a lot of hope. And it also made me kind of curious, ultimately, can I get into Boston? Not this year or anything like that, but that is a long-term goal that I've always wanted to work towards. So I think I'm a good like 2 to 3 years off from actually being able to start training like that. But since the Twin Cities Marathon, I've been basically base building. So right after the marathon, I took off a month or two to kind of the first month was just more recovery, so very slow runs, nothing really with distance. And then I started to try to do some more strength programs, as well as I do have diastasis recti, which is like an ab separation. It's very common after you have kids. And so that's something else that I wanted to address over the off season too. So I've been working on, I've been doing PT, I've been working on strength training at home. I've been trying all these types of things, just so that I'm getting stronger. So then I started base building again in January. I started working with Run for PRs again. And I have Coach Megan, who has been amazing. She's also a mom too, and she's a super speedy runner. So we've just been kind of like low key working on growing my base mileage and just consistently increasing it, as well as I was doing a 3-day-a-week strength training program too. So I would run it for 4 days and then strength training for 3, which works out really nicely for me. So now my mileage is slowly starting to ramp up. Last week I did 36 miles, which includes I'm up to 5 days of running now, and I'm doing a 2-day-a-week strength program, which I decided to switch it on my own because the previous program, JG40, which I did a review on, it was way too much for me. And it was more in the sense where, I'm a runner. I prefer more basic movements and things like that in the gym. I don't want overly complicated, as well as I was just getting really frustrated because like half the time she would call for equipment and stuff like that, that it would either be taken up, and I don't have a whole lot of time to be spending in the gym. I have maybe max an hour, which is still decent. But having to wait or try to figure out like other things, as well as trying to always look for YouTube videos, it wasn't working for me. So now I'm doing a program called MAPS Resistance. It's a 2-day a week right now, and then it ultimately builds to 3 days a week. And I really like it. It comes with 3 different versions of the program. And I'll do a whole review on this, but basically I'm doing the dumbbell version of it, which it's been perfect. It's about 30 minutes of strength training. It's very effective, total body. And then on top of that, I'm also coupling it with some of my diastasis recti exercises that I can link to below too. I did buy a course because for me, courses just make a lot more sense if someone's telling me what to do. I prefer that because I just don't have a lot of time to be figuring it out and piecemealing it together for myself. So I've been doing that. So last week I basically had, Monday was a strength training day. So I believe I did like a mile, and then I did my, the first day of MAPS Resistance, which I absolutely loved. Then Tuesday, that was actually a speed workout. That was a hill workout that I had to do. And then Wednesday, I think all in on Tuesday, I ended up doing about 7 miles. So it was, 2 or 3 mile warm up, and then some hill repeats in between there, and then a cool down to, I believe, 6 miles. Then Wednesday, this is the new part of my training, is where I'm doing 3 miles easy, and then I'm also doing some foam rolling. So that's something that I'm trying to focus on, is more of the stretching and the recovery and things like that, just so that I can keep going. So then Thursday, that's my speed workout day. So that one was actually a really spicy workout, because I feel like I see these workouts written down on paper and I'm like, oh, it's not so bad. But she had me do, I did a mile warm up, and then some strides, and then rested. And then I did 1 mile from 8:30 to 8:45, then 2-minute rest. Then I did 3 miles at 8:45 to 9, which I tried to stick kind of in the middle of those and progressively get a little faster as the miles go on. Then a rest for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I did 1 more mile at 8:25 to 8:35, and I tried to stick closer to the 8:25. And then it was a cool down until 7 miles. So I really like it. It's funny because it's like the first mile feels great, easy peasy. The 3 mile one, it feels good, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling the first mile. And then the last one, I'm like, oh, I'm ready for this to be over with. And then thankfully, with everything all combined, that got me to about 6.8 miles, I want to say. So I only had to cool down for 0.3, because I feel like that's also one of the harder parts too, is like, I'm done with this really hard workout. I just want to be done, but I still have to cool down. So I did that, and it was really fun. And something that I'm trying to think about too, is I really enjoy doing my speed workouts on my Peloton tread, because one, I have the class. I usually do a Bex class. It helps distract me. And what I'll do is I'll actually, because I know my warm-ups are generally about 11 to 12 minutes long for the first mile. I go super easy on it. I usually do like a 15-minute class ahead of time, to do my strides, to do my 1 mile warm up, to do all that stuff. And then I hop into a 60-minute class. And it just gives me a little bit more flexibility to like kind of be on with the class. And it's really nice. I've been enjoying her marathon prep classes. So in those, she'll guide you, but I just do the workout that my coach Megan gives me. But during it, she'll actually give you some marathon tips and like use her own personal experience. So I really like to listen to that, and it helps, as well as I really like to have the treadmill because it's easy just to adjust to your pace. So I don't have to mess around with a watch or anything like that. I can just set it and I know I'm on my pace. I know I'm doing it. And I don't have to worry about like inclines and things like that, which I know it doesn't mimic race day. And that's something that I'm going to have to think about, like what I want to do when I actually get into the actual marathon training. Like, do I want to go outside for my speed workouts, or is it just, it's a lot faster and easier for me to do them on the tread, but at the same time, it's not helping me learn my pacing. So that's where I need to figure something out. But I mean, I have time, thankfully, to kind of play around with it. As well as it's finally starting to warm up here. So getting outside more, even for my longer runs, has really been helping a lot to learn pacing again. Because I feel like I've been on the treadmill so much that I know treadmill stuff and I'm comfortable on the treadmill, but once you get outside, it's just a whole different area. So that was Thursday. Friday, I did another 1 mile warm up, and then day 2 of the strength program, which I think day 2 is actually my favorite. I did these overhead dumbbell walks, and it was only 30 steps down, 30 steps back, but I was sore all weekend from that little move. And that's what I love like about this program. It's more about like functional strength, where you're not doing anything crazy or complex or anything, but it's very efficient and it works. I really, really am enjoying this program, but I'm only 1 week into it. Did my week 2, day 1 workout yesterday and still enjoying it. So we'll see how things progress, but so far I am happy with it. So then Saturday, I kind of go like medium-ish distance. So usually my long run is on Sunday, and then Saturday's run is going to be half of whatever the distance is from Sunday's run. And the biggest thing with Run for PRs is that you run easy. So for me, I am running a good like 2 to 3 minutes slower than like my faster mile times and things like that. So it did take me a while to get used to running slowly like that, but I really do enjoy it. And something that I do focus on too is I like to keep an eye on my heart rate. I used to run with a chest band, and I know that that's the most accurate way, but I chafe like crazy with all of those, no matter what I do. And it just, I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable. So I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to run more on feel, keep an eye on my wrist heart rate. And usually it ties out and it works out usually. So I had a really good, I ran 6 miles on Saturday, and I was able to keep my heart rate under 150, which is always my goal. And I did that one on the treadmill. So I pretty much set it at 15 miles, I think. So all in, I think it took me about 70-ish minutes to do. And I felt great afterwards. I was able to go about the day, do other things. I think we went for a walk and stuff, and it was really nice. So then Sunday came my long run. And that one I was actually able to go outside. I was dreading doing my long run outside because it was like 40 mile an hour winds. It was super crazy winds. But then I'm like, it was actually warm out, but the winds were like really, really gusty. But I was thinking, Chicago's probably going to be like that. So this is actually probably a really good opportunity to kind of go out and get a feel for how Chicago training or the Chicago race will go. So I went out and did it, and it was definitely tough because of the winds, but it felt really good. I maintained my heart rates. I was really, really impressed. For all 12 miles, I was actually under 150. I don't think I even got into 140s until I hit like about 10 miles, which was really, really good for me. I did a loop that I haven't done in a while because it's just starting to warm up here, and it amazed me how much easier that loop was than when I had done it last year. So to me, even though like my times aren't a whole lot faster, the way that I can mentally get through it a lot easier, as well as, the hills didn't feel as big. My heart rate wasn't spiking as it usually did. And I think that really, really helped. For fueling, I only brought my water bottle. I have a little handheld water bottle, and I brought one of those Mortine gels that I love. But the thing that really is bugging me lately is, I don't know if this is a national thing, but my running store has been having a shortage on just the regular ones. So they have some of the caffeinated ones in stock, but I don't always like to use the caffeinated ones. I get nervous about GI things and stuff like that, even though I know it's fine on my stomach usually. But I like to just limit the caffeine that I, at least like when I'm not in a race. So unfortunately in my running store, I've only been able to get caffeinated ones. So I had a caffeinated gel. In a race or hard effort, I try to do my gels every 45 minutes. But when I know I'm going to be running easy and I'm not really exerting a lot, I actually do it about halfway point. So for this run, I think I averaged like 10 45s, which was nice because that's a lot faster than when I run on the treadmill, and my heart rate was low the entire time too. So I ended up going, I think it was like an hour and something before I took a gel. But I didn't feel like I needed it. I was running so easy. My heart rate was low. And I felt well hydrated that I felt strong the entire run. So definitely that's something that I'm kind of keeping an eye on too, is just when exactly do I need to be taking my gels, when maybe don't I need to take them, and during training, that's kind of the best time to be testing it out, because I know for sure like during hard efforts, I need to take it a lot sooner than I think I do. But on these easier, like slower days, I don't think I need to be fueling as much or as often as I normally would. But overall, it was 36-mile week, and it was a really great week. It was also really nice because it started warming up, and something that I'm trying to challenge myself to do is to get in more non-exercise movement. So I'm trying to get in more walks, especially outside if I can. I've started to do some peloton walks, which if you haven't done a peloton walk, definitely check it out, because it's not as easy as they sound. There's a lot of incline, which it doesn't compare to a hike. Peloton hikes are like 12% incline for pretty much the whole thing. Walks are a little bit faster walks, but you still get up to like 6-7% incline. So I've been trying to challenge myself just to do like a 20 to 30 minute thing like that, just to get a little bit more movement in, because I have been noticing like on the days that I'm strength training or I have shorter runs, like I'm barely moving. Generally. So that's just something personally that I'm trying to develop on my own. And it's been pretty good. And I'm excited, like once it does start getting nicer out, to actually get my miles in outside. And I feel like it's a really good mental break too in between the day. But overall, I am feeling really great. I think I have about 3 more weeks until we'll really kick off marathon training. I've tried to get a little bit out of my coach Megan about what she thinks goals could look like for the marathon, but I think it's a little too soon right now. Secretly, I am hoping to maybe target like a 4-hour marathon, which is not close to what I need for Boston right now. I believe I would need a 3:30 for Boston. So I don't think a BQ is on the table for this year, but it is. It would be a 40-minute improvement if I do a 4-hour. So I'm hoping that that's what we'll be, or something like around a 4:20-ish. So kind of in that area, but as we get further along on the training and everything, that's when we'll kind of start having those discussions. And I'm excited because next week I have my first half marathon for the season. I think, pretty sure it's the first one that I've had. I had a 10-mile and a 15K. So that's going to be the first half marathon. But it's going to be interesting because I'm doing it with some friends, and we're actually going to be running it a little bit slower. So I don't think we're going to be racing it. So that'll be really fun to do. But overall, feeling really great about Chicago. I'm excited to see just how the base building is working, and to actually be able to measure my progress and everything. So that's kind of the scoop for the week. If you have any questions, let me know about it. I love trying new things and stuff like that. So if you've come across any new gels or anything like that have been working during your training, I would love to hear it. As it starts to get warmer out, I know I'll start adding some Tailwind into my water, because that definitely does help me a lot, especially when it's like really, really hot out. But right now, I haven't had to use it yet. So I've been pretty minimal for now, but I know when the miles get longer and the days get hotter, it'll be busting out too. So I hope that this has been helpful. Again, make sure that you subscribe and you like, and let me know what you think too. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.